welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video. It is going to be a Sephora VIB Sale haul. Get ready with me. So we are doing the look that I have on my face today. I will leave my haul link down below. I didn't get a full new face of products, but there were some products that I recently picked up, for example, the Milk Hydro Grip. So I put that on my face today. It wasn't something I hauled, but I had recently purchased. My eyes is the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. I did not pick up any new eyeshadow during the sale, but I had recently picked up this. So for the most part, it is going to be a full face of mostly first impressions using the products that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale. I would love to know if you picked up anything during the sale, and if you have anything that you're really excited about, let me know in the comments. Other than that, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing before moving on. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment as well, and anything else that the YouTube algorithm loves for you to do. And without further ado, let's get into the get ready with me. Hello you guys, we're gonna get started with this get ready with me. I grabbed a couple of products. I didn't have like something that I hauled. I tried to grab like my newest product. So for example, I did end up buying the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Gel Tint prior to the VIB sale, but this is my newest foundation to my collection, or skin tint, so this is what we'll be trying today. I did haul all three of the new Sol de Janeiro scents, and I will say I wore Danco Mystica yesterday to work, and I was really impressed with how long I still felt like I smelled this throughout the day, especially for it being a body mist. This is the one that has fig, warm vanilla, and sandalwood, a very unique scent. If you can get in store and get your nose on this, I recommend smelling it because I think it's such an interesting scent. I actually really like this one. I've worn it twice now. And then what I sprayed on myself today, I might spray like 1 or 2 extra, maybe 3, just for good measure. But I have the Flor Mystica on, and I actually really enjoy this one as well. It is very like summer, like it just reminds me of like a summer fragrance. Kind of just like, I don't want to say a generic summer fragrance, but this one is not as unique in my opinion as this one. Still really enjoy this one, and I feel like I'll get a ton of use out of this summer as well. And then another thing that is non-makeup, I did get the Way leave-in conditioner. I used this for the first time last night. This is in the St. Bart's scent. Again, a very kind of like tropical vacation sort of scent in my opinion. Love it. I really have not used a leave-in conditioner before, but I really enjoy this. I feel like my hair does feel like a lot smoother and just softer and less dry today. Again, it was the first time that I used this product, but I'm really excited to switch my hair care routine up a little bit, maybe add in some products that might help my hair a little bit more. So I just wanted to give you my first impressions on that as well. Typically I do my eyeshadow first, but today we're just gonna go for it and we're gonna start with the face. So I did pick up a new primer, and actually I realize now that my primer and my foundation are both from the Milk Hydro line. So hopefully these play well together. You would imagine so. But I did end up picking up the Milk Hydro Grip Glow Primer. This launched last year around this time, and I was interested in it. I was, and then I wasn't. And then I went in store and I swatched it, and I thought it looked really beautiful. It has this beautiful golden glow to it. I love a glow, so I was really interested in it, but I felt like it was something that I would only reach for in the spring summertime. And I think by the time I had made it in store to swatch it, it was like maybe end of summer, and I was like, okay, if you still want it next springtime, then you can get it. So this is what we have today. I have used the Milk Hydro Primer in the past, Hydro Grip, and I liked my first bottle, repurchased a second, and wasn't as big of a fan of it the second time through. So I'll be really interested to see what we think this time. I'm going to, okay, there's my first pump. I'm gonna start out with just one pump and really try and smooth this across the skin, rather than sometimes I feel like I can go way too heavy-handed. And I feel like doing only one pump might, oh yeah, we're getting a good tack, might help to not overuse the product, and therefore maybe wouldn't take as long to set or dry down. I just grabbed like a half pump for the forehead. I have a huge forehead, so probably my forehead alone could probably use one full pump. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute or two, just because my experience in the past with the Milk Hydra Grip Primer is that it does need just a minute to kind of set down. Otherwise, when I go directly on top with the foundation, sometimes the foundation can get a little bit like it sticks only in some places. But do you see that does offer a beautiful glow to the skin? My thought was that I hoped, what is this? Is that? Okay, the one thing I will say is I feel like some of the like glowy pigment gets stuck in, like, I feel like there was like an extra, like, I don't know if you can see, it's like extra glowy right there, or it was right there. So it looks like maybe some of the like glowy pigment gets stuck in some places that it doesn't. I don't know. Anyway, my thought was that with this was that I could also wear this on days that I just wanted to do like concealer and maybe a little bit of like a liquid or a cream blush, and then it would still give my face a glow. It does, I mean, it does look very, very glowy. I do feel like it's like dried down. I honestly feel like this side maybe has a bit of a tack. I feel like even pressing though, it's not as tacky as I remember. Anyway, I'm next gonna go in with the, actually no, I'm next gonna go in with my concealer. I did not purchase a new concealer. I like to put my concealer on underneath my foundation. That's how I personally like to do it. And actually, I lied. I didn't get a new concealer, but I did get a new concealer, more so like a color corrector. So this is from Bobbi Brown. It's the color correcting stick, and I got the shade Light Medium Bisque. I am going to put this down, and then maybe I will do my tinted moisturizer, and then I'll do this on top. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, I feel like if you've been watching my videos the last 6 months to a year, I've been complaining a lot about like shadows underneath my, like, my under eyes, I'm so self-conscious of these days. So I've been testing out different color correctors. I have the peach one from e.l.f., which actually I think I just emptied that out the other day. I'm like, I took the stopper out. I'm pretty sure that is officially an empty. That one was a little bit too dark for me. I also really do like the NYX one, but mine, I have the pink shade, and that one's like a little bit too light and brightening sometimes. So we're gonna try this one from Bobbi Brown. I feel like I've heard good things about this color corrector, and actually I used to have the Bobbi Brown color corrector in peach, but that was too dark for me. But I did really like the formula, so I'm gonna put, like, I'm gonna do that, because that's like where I'm honestly most self-conscious, but then I will bring a little bit down right there so that we can blend out. I don't know, I feel like I was never self-conscious of my under eyes, and now it's like one of my things that I'm like most self-conscious of. I'm just gonna go in with my Alter Ego. What number is this? Does it have a number? 101. 101 to blend that out. And if I feel like I still need a beauty sponge after that, I will. Oh, I should have done one eye and then like compared the two. Horrible beauty content creator right here. Horrible. Do you see though, I still have like a little bit there, but possibly once we put on like tinted moisturizer and layer a little bit more concealer over top, maybe then we'll be good. I do feel like the shade is nice though. It doesn't feel like too stark. Like it's not, like sometimes with the pink from NYX, it's like so light that it actually like brightens and just like calls even more attention to my under eyes, which I definitely don't necessarily want. Yeah, I do really like the shade of this. So far so good. I like the shade a lot actually. And I feel like it's something that will work for me. Oh, I have like an eye crusty. I feel like the shade will kind of work whether or not I'm self-tan, just because my face is usually lighter than the rest of my body. I feel like it'll work kind of regardless. I am going to try and add just a little bit more over here. We'll see. Maybe I'll try and tap that out with my finger. I don't know. Okay, maybe that did. I feel like in my mind I can still see it, but I actually do feel like that shade is just about perfect. I think they just recently expanded their shade range, and this is one of the new shades. More to come. Obviously, this is just my first impressions on the majority of these products. Not this one. I've worn this a couple of times. First impressions, I do really like that shade. I feel like it comes off very natural. Like I feel like, kind of as I was saying, if I didn't want to go in with like any foundation at all for work, I could do like this and then do just a little color correcting underneath my eyes, and it doesn't look crazy. So next I'm gonna go in with with the Milk Hydro Grip Gel Tint. I purchased mine in the shade 4. I have worn this one I think 3 or 4 times at this point, and I do really like this. It's very nice and lightweight. I don't feel like this is anything that like dries to or clings to my dry patches, and I feel like for the wear time, I do always set with a powder. Where's the foundation brush that I want? I do personally always set with a powder, but set with a powder, I honestly feel like it lasts me like throughout the day. I don't think it wears off in a crazy way. Like I feel like it wears off in a very flattering way, and I've been really impressed with this thus far. So I'm gonna take my Sigma Multitasker, and I am just going to use this to blend it out onto my face. I'm like, what am I saying? The only thing is shade 4, honestly, I don't feel like it's gonna be a great match for me in the summer. Like I feel like it's gonna be too light. But, you know, there's always bronzers and things for that, so. And so far, I've like really been enjoying it with the shade that I am now. I'm still a little bit tan from Florida, but like nothing crazy. I just feel like it looks very glowy and natural. So I always start by taking a brush and kind of blending it onto my face, and then I take a little bit more, and then I use my beauty sponge. And I use my beauty sponge mostly to blend onto the forehead. I try to get like not a ton onto my forehead, just so we have minimal product up there to be like sinking into forehead lines. So there's what this looks like all blended out. Again, very just like glowy and natural. I feel like it's so light on the skin, and I obviously didn't go in with a pore filling primer, but I honestly don't feel like it like accentuates my forehead. I honestly feel like it just blurs the skin in like a light glowy way. I think this is actually a really beautiful product. I do want to set underneath my eyes because I think my under eyes look a little bit crazy unset. But that's pretty typical and pretty common. I am going to go in with a little bit more concealer, just because we only used a color corrector, and I did not purchase a new concealer during the sale. This is my newest to my collection. It's the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer, and I have mine in the shade 1.5. This is not my personal favorite concealer. I don't really like the doe foot on this. I don't know if you'll even be able to see. It's just kind of like oddly shaped. But I'm actually just gonna go in with just a bit right there. And I don't feel like, I'm gonna go in with a little up here just cause we've got that shadow that I hate so much. I do have a cream bronzer that I wanna put on before we set the face with powder. I'm just gonna take that same Alter Ego 101 brush. I love this brush for concealer. And I will likely use a beauty sponge just to make sure everything is like seamlessly blended, but I don't know if I said this, but that Giorgio Armani concealer I don't feel like is the most full coverage concealer, which is honestly perfectly fine with me, especially if we are just using like a tinted moisturizer. I don't need like the most full coverage under eyes. Plus we'll set with a powder, like we'll do the things. Okay, there we have concealer. I'm already feeling a little bit better about my under eyes. Oh dang, I have so many, not so many even, but I have so many products that I want to test and try. I'm like, how do I pick my bronzer, blush, and highlight for this video? I am gonna go in with my cream bronzer that I picked up from Ilia, and then I'll set my face, and then we can go in with like a powder blush and bronzer as well. So this is from Ilia. It's the Sunshift Cream Bronzer in the shade Eclipse. This is from swatching it. It kind of looks weird. Like even in store, I'm like, ooh, it kind of looks, but every time I've been in store, I've been drawn to this product. I've wanted to swatch it, and it's been something kind of like on my mind or on my wish list for a little bit. Where is my brush that I want to use for this? The shade Eclipse, I believe, is the lightest shade. When I swatched this, and I think Rise might be the second lightest shade. Rise looked a little bit too orange to me. So I went with Eclipse when I was swatching this during my haul the other day. Then I was like, is this going to be like too light in the summer? Okay, but honestly, this shade looks pretty neutral, which I personally like. I like a more neutral bronzer shade. What I liked most about this when I've swatched it is just that it looked like it has just such a beautiful glow to it. And even like not necessarily even for like the forehead, obviously, or not the forehead, the face. I have such a big forehead. I'm always just concerned about bronzing it up, can you tell? But not even necessarily for the face, although I was excited about it for the face. A couple of summers ago, I loved the Tower 28. I was trying to finish up my Tower 28. I think it was like the West Coast, like the Bronzino, the glowy one from Tower 28, the glowy cream bronzer, and I would use it on my like chest, and it just gave the most beautiful bronze blur to the chest. I loved it. So I was like, I could honestly even use this for that. I don't think I finished saying too, when I swatched this the other day, I was like, dang, I don't know if this is gonna work for me in the summer, but if I like the formula, I honestly could pick up another shade. I really was already looking at the swatches online. I just need to go in the store though. But right now this actually looks really beautiful in my opinion. Again, it's glowy, which I personally prefer. If you don't like glow, this probably is not going to be the product for you, but that blended out in my opinion really easily, and I do feel like it's more of like a neutral bronzer shade rather than being something that's like, you know, bright orange for the summer. Not bright orange, but you guys know what I mean. I'm going to take this obviously down this way a bit. I actually feel like that's really pretty. It's reminding me, I just finally started to use, I've been doing such minimal makeup on days that I've been going to work, so I haven't been wearing foundation this week, and I've been testing out finally the Dibs Beauty like bronzer and blush duo. I got it in an advent calendar, and the bronzer in that is such a neutral bronzer shade. It's worked so well. I've been actually kind of obsessed with that this week, and the blush shade is also really beautiful. It gives a really beautiful glow to the cheeks, but it's so natural. And this bronzer is kind of reminding me, it might be a little bit warmer than that one, but kind of reminding me of that bronzing stick. And I just feel like this summer is going to be like my cream bronzer blush highlight era, just knowing like how I've been doing more like minimal makeup, and honestly like just a quick cream blush and bronzer for work is just what I imagine I'm gonna be doing all summer long. Maybe I'll be wrong, maybe I'm fooling myself, but okay, no, this is first impression, but I honestly am really quite pleased with that. It is again glowy, like I'm looking very glowy, and maybe like we're looking a little like we're looking a little scary over on this cheek. Like maybe we went a little too overboard on this cheek, but we'll fix it with powder, I hope. Honestly, maybe this cheek as well. I think I just got to chatting and I just kept going and going. We'll fix it. We're gonna fix it. It's gonna be fine. I did not buy any new powders, but during the last VIB sale in November, I bought the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Powder. I'm gonna use this to set underneath my eyes. I really, really enjoy this powder. This is my current favorite pressed powder. I wish Givenchy, right? Givenchy? I wish they would bring back the original Prism Libre powder, because that one I like just a little bit more because it's just a little bit more blurring. But honestly, for something a little bit lighter, the Makeup by Mario one is really beautiful. I definitely see myself buying the Makeup by Mario one again when I finish this one. I still have a long way to go, a very long way to go with this powder. I honestly feel like this could last me well into next year still, but unless something crazy happens, I definitely see myself buying this again for my everyday go-to loose powder. And then my favorite pressed powder is the Kosas Cloud Set powder. I have the shade Feathery. I have gone through a full Kosas Cloud Set powder, and I repurchased it again about this time last year, a little bit after, maybe like May of last year, just because I was missing having this in my collection. And it's just my go-to. I have pretty dry skin, and I just like something a little bit lighter. I don't need anything, like I definitely never have oils peeking through by any means that I need to like control. So this powder just works so well for me. I feel like we tamed down the bronzer on this side a little bit. We are looking very bronzed on the forehead, but I like to be bronzed, so I'm not mad about that. I am a little bit torn on what to do for my powder bronzer. So I have my NARS Hot Escape Cheek Palette, which I had purchased the NARS Cheek Palette, like the first one, prior to the sale, and I love the NARS face palettes. I really like this one. I feel like this one, I like that it's a quad personally, and I feel like the shades in this, other than the bronzer and probably honestly the highlight, although the highlight is almost like a champagne with a bit of a pink in this one, I feel like the shades were a little bit different than what we normally see. The outer packaging is probably one of my favorite outer packagings that NARS has ever done, so I really wanted number 2 as well, because I felt like this one would work better for me in the spring summer. I want to use this, but I also feel like the bronzer might be a little bit too dark for me at the moment. So I think I'm gonna do this bronzer. This is the new one from Laura Mercier. It is the Bronze Color Infusion, and I have the shade 20 Marisol, which I think is actually the lightest. I'm like, did I make a mistake here, and should I have gone with the second lightest? But it's okay. So with this, you have like a sculpt and a glow. I've only used this once before, and I just kind of mixed the two together. Just like let me show you guys what this is the glow. Like, I don't see myself using this. It's a product I plan to mix together. So I literally just swirl my brush in there, or that's what I have been doing. And then I already feel like, dang, okay, that is extremely pigmented. Not quite as pigmented on the other side. I'm like, what other bronzer would I have used with this that would have gotten like so into the brush? I should have gone in with a clean brush. I'm gonna take my Rephr 22 brush, and I'm just gonna use this for my forehead. Okay, I feel like I definitely had possibly something else on here, because I'm like, I don't think this is all from this. We're gonna have to keep trying this. Also, I'm like, we're very bronzed. I'm not mad about it, but I feel like some people, this is not like their journey for level of bronze. Okay, maybe this is way more pigmented than I thought, you guys. Help. Okay. Yikes, I'm actually afraid. I'm like, I actually think maybe it is. That this is way more pigmented than I really thought. I think we'll be okay probably with this color. Let me just take a little bit more of my Kosas powder maybe. And we're gonna try and save this a little bit. I don't know if this is gonna save it at all. Maybe I toned it down a bit. The good news is I'm not going to work today. I don't have to go. I think I can wash this right off if I want to. But I do feel like that helped to kind of tone everything down. Okay. I like to do my highlighter next and then go in with my blush. I just feel like it like seamlessly blends things together a little bit better. It just works better for me. So I'm gonna have, you guys are gonna have to come back for NARS. Maybe we'll use this in like a Shop My Stash Get Ready With Me. But today I'm gonna go in with my new Dior Forever highlighter, which I'm really, really excited about. This is in the shade Pink Halo. I have had 2 other Dior highlights in the past, and I was wondering if this would be kind of similar to Bobbi Brown Pink Glow, which I will actually swatch. I'm gonna swatch from the Dior Bobbi Brown Pink Glow. Okay, interesting. Here is the Dior. Here is Bobbi Brown Pink Glow. Bobbi Brown Pink Glow is definitely more highlighty and intense, whereas this, I honestly feel like Halo is just like a more subdued or like a little bit less flashy version of Bobbi Brown Pink Glow. Honestly, they look very, very similar in like tone though. One's just like an amplified version of that, which Bobbi Brown Pink Glow is and has been one of my favorite, in my top 2 favorite highlights since like 2018. So very excited about this. What I've been doing for my highlight lately is I've been taking my BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose brush, the N17, and I usually use this side for powdering underneath my eyes, and then I take this back side, which I saw her recommend and do. I'm gonna tap a little bit off and just like really like sweep this to create like a more diffused highlighty look, which I get we've got a lot going on for bronzer at the moment. So, and I will say that doesn't look like the most intense highlight. It definitely does look more subtle, which I'm not mad about. I do typically prefer more subtle highlight. Lately I've been like, you know, not minding something like a little bit more intense. Especially like if I am filming, I think it's been fun to play up the highlighter a little bit more. But for day to day, I mean, a more subtle highlight is perfect for me. Yeah, that definitely is a little bit more subtle, which I'm not mad about. And I personally love a pink toned highlight, so. Okay, for blush, I'm gonna go, oh, I have 2 blushes. Where's my other one? Okay, I have the Tower 28 blush in the shade Long Beach Iced Tea. There's Long Beach Iced Tea. That could be really pretty with today's look. Then I also have the YSL Make Me blush in the shade Nude Lavalier. I also could, or I also feel like there's Nude Lavalier. Oh, I was gonna go with the YSL, but I almost wonder if I'd go with the nude one. But I feel like I don't, right now I don't have a lot of, maybe I should go with the YSL because right now I don't have a lot of, or I have so much bronzer on. I feel like maybe this would kind of just like mix in and make me even look like my bronzer's even more crazy. Okay, we're gonna do the YSL Make Me blush in the shade Nude Lavalier. And I think I'm actually gonna use my Singe Beauty F06 brush for this. Okay, I feel like this is gonna be, okay, there's a lot of kick up, so I wanna be careful that I don't have too much right off the bat. And I like when my blush, like the majority of the color sits a little bit higher to like lift my cheeks a little bit more. So I'm gonna focus my blush kind of like up here and then bring just a little bit down onto the cheeks. Okay, I can definitely tell I went way overboard with the bronzer today. But I do feel like that blush is really pretty. And it does look pretty, like, neutral is the word I'm gonna use. Like, I feel like this is a blush that could really go with almost any eye look. And I should pay attention in my mirror because, wow, we're looking, oh, the bronzer, you guys. I get it. I went overboard with the bronzer today. I was not doing my due diligence and paying attention to, even if I didn't feel like something was super pigmented, i.e. that Laura Mercier bronzer, if I felt like I was gonna have to, I should have just built up. I should have just not gone in so heavy-handed right away. Okay, there is Nude Lavalier. Such a beautiful shine to that blush. And I honestly, like I said, feel like this is a blush that could be very like neutral and really match quite a few different looks. I am happy with that right off the bat. I feel like in person this looks way more pigmented than on camera. And I'm like, okay, this, okay, please don't judge my makeup skills. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna use this is the newest brow product to my collection. You actually, I don't think can get this at Sephora, but it's the Vizier like trios. And what I've been doing is going in with the pomade and then going over top with the powder. So that's what I'm gonna do for my brows today. If you're wondering my thoughts on this, I feel like the pomade is just so much drier than the Danessa Myricks one. And so it's just not maybe as easy to use, or it's just different maybe than what I'm used to. I'm not saying I don't like it, I'm just saying I like the Danessa Myricks more. I did not buy a new eyeshadow palette during the sale, but I did recently pick up the Natasha Denona Bloom eyeshadow palette, so I figured I would use that in today's video. I haven't finished testing this out. I'm not gonna do anything crazy on the eyes today though. I will first go ahead and set my lids. I'm just gonna use my Ulta Beauty matte veil to, oh my gosh, as my eyeshadow primer, and I think I did way too much on this lid. Okay, I'm first gonna go in with the shade Petal down here just to set that primer. Normally I actually don't set this primer, but because I literally just put it on, usually I'll let it like settle for like 5 minutes, but I kind of want to just keep going, and I feel like it needs to get set today. Okay, I think today what I want to do is just take these 2 shades and then do like Lush all over the lid. Start out by taking the shade Keen up here, which honestly looks very similar to the shade Petal that I just put on my lids. I'm curious if this is gonna even like show up on my lids. Maybe just a little bit. Honestly, for like I feel like this would be like if you just want like a one shadow and done, but you want something a little bit more like warm toned and peachy, this could be a really good shade for that, but it really does not pack a lot of punch when it comes to being a super pigmented shadow. And I feel like we only needed one lighter shade personally. All right, then I'm gonna go in with the shade Bark, the dark brown. The only other look I've so far created with this palette was like almost like a mint and red sort of look. And I'm sure you're wondering like where'd the mint come from, which it came from this shade right here. And I really actually enjoyed that look a lot. Okay, I do like the way that Bark is laying onto my lid. It's a really beautiful kind of warm tone brown shade. Sometimes I feel like with Natasha palettes, like, I don't know, sometimes the darker brown shades can really be hit or miss in terms of quality, so I always get a little bit worried. But I do like the way that this one is laying down and blending. The only thing I was thinking of is that blush is definitely more like, well, I don't know, would you consider it cool toned? That's what I was gonna say. And I'm like, and we're definitely doing like warm toned on the eyes, but like I said, I think that blush will be pretty neutral and kind of match quite a bit in terms of whatever you want to do with your eye look. All right, and then personally, I'm not needing this to be a super dramatic look. I'm actually gonna lay a little bit more of Keen over top of this, just to blend everything out a little bit further and kind of lighten up that brown shade maybe just a little bit more, because I really don't want anything crazy on the eyes. I'm next going to take some glitter glue. I am someone who just does have pretty creasy lids, crease prone lids, so I do like to lay down a glitter glue just about any time I'm using a shimmer metallic shadow. So I'm just taking the NYX glitter glue, running that all across my lid, and then we're going to go in all across the lid with that shade Lush, which I'm really excited about because it looks like a really beautiful kind of golden peach shade with like a pink sparkle. And personally, maybe I'll zoom you guys in, so sorry that we've been doing the eyes not zoomed in. Personally, I've been loving a finger to, like, I use my finger to lay down most metallics, but I will use a brush just so if you only like using a brush, you can kind of see how this lays down. But I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is called Lush, and I'm just going to pack that on to the entirety of my lid. Again, I don't want to go for anything too complex today. Okay, that's how it lays down with a brush, which honestly is fine. I just feel like I get more impact if I use my finger, so I'm going in with my finger. I just cannot help myself. I personally just like to press things in with my finger, and I feel like it just like kind of more seamlessly lays on the lid. Could just be the way that my lids are too. And I'm really gonna try and bring this up into the crease as well. I think that's super pretty. Especially just for like, oh, you guys know I always talk about patio drinking. Can you tell I like to patio drink? When you live in Minnesota and it's like, you have 4 months of misery. I'm not saying no one else outside of Minnesota has 4 months of misery through the winter, but it's just the winters get so long, so you gotta take advantage of every moment of the summer sun, and there's nothing better than a margarita on a patio. And I feel like this eyeshadow would be perfect for that exact situation. Okay, I don't have a brand new eyeliner, but last year around holiday time, I picked up a Makeup Forever like pencil set, and it did have one of their eye pencils in there. This is in the shade Limitless Brown 608. So I figured I would use this today. I typically just do, almost always, unless I'm doing a colorful look and I want to do a color in the waterline, I almost always do a brown in the waterline. This one is a little bit more warm toned than I typically go, and actually more like a mid-tone brown. But honestly, probably matches the eye look a little bit better than something darker. And this just does such a nice job of blending onto the waterline. Sometimes I really struggle to get a good waterline blend. I am going to take next, before we put mascara on, I'm gonna go in with the shade Crisp, which is this shade right here. I'm gonna take that on the inner corner, and I am gonna bring that up into like the crease a little bit. So I'm going in with my What's Up Beauty R101. This is my favorite brush to do this with. So bringing it up into the crease some. Ooh, and that has a bit of a pink reflect to it too, I think. Or maybe it's just the way that it's layering on top of blush. But I do, okay, that definitely does have a bit of a pink reflect to it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the shade that I love out of the Natasha Denona Mini Love. But this one maybe has a little bit more warmth and a little bit more, a bit of a sparkle to it. Okay, I really like the way that that blends into Lush. That's really pretty. Then I'm just gonna take a little bit more of the shade Keen to blend out the lower lash line. So nothing crazy deep on the lower lash. Perfect. Okay, and then I don't have any, well, I have a new mascara, but you can get it at Sephora. I have the e.l.f. Lash Extender, which I do personally like the e.l.f. Lash Extender for my mascara, and I always go on my lower lash first, let that dry, and then go in with the rest. But before I do that, I'm going to spray down a setting spray, and this I didn't buy, but Bare Minerals sent this to me. I don't know if you can get this at Sephora. Sometimes I feel like most of Bare Minerals products are at Ulta, but it's the original Mineral Veil 24-hour setting spray. So I haven't used this yet. I guess I should see what the, oh, it does have a nice mist. Okay. Ooh, it has a really nice mist. Did it say matte on that? No, it didn't even say, oh yeah, natural matte finish. Okay. I'm almost out of my Benefit Professional, and I'm like, oh, I hope that this isn't like, doesn't leave too much of a matte finish, because I don't love a matte finish. But I do hope this extends over my makeup and I don't have to immediately go out and purchase this, because I was really hoping to get this half off. I was hoping that this was going to be available during the 21 Days of Beauty. It wasn't, so we'll see about this. I haven't used this yet. This is my first time using that as well. I'm going to zoom you guys. Well, yeah, I'll zoom you out. I'm going to do my mascara. So I'll put on a layer on the lower lash, and then maybe I'll do my lip liner before we do the upper lashes. So I did buy 2 new lip products during the sale. I bought the Gisou Honey Infused Lip Oil. I bought a new shade of this. This is in Glazed Plum. Looks like a really, really beautiful shade, but I really want to try the new Makeup Forever Super Boost. I got the shade Wherever Walnut, so I am going to go in with my Wherever Walnut lip liner. Okay, before we finish off the gloss, I'll leave you hanging. I'm going to go in with the rest of my mascara. So, oh shoot, I forgot to curl my lashes. That's okay. They're maybe holding a bit of the curl from yesterday. I don't know. I really struggle with the current lashes that I'm brushing through. Sometimes they just stick straight out, and it's so frustrating. Okay, I do have, though, the YSL Lash Clash, which you obviously can get at Sephora. I just have the little mini, and this was open, so I figured I could use a bit of this today as well, just to add a little bit more volume. I do typically like to layer my mascaras. I usually layer something with my e.l.f. Lash Extender. Lately, I've been using the Rose Ink one a lot, just because it has a really nice, like, I feel like it gives a lot of length and separation and isn't super clumpy and volumizing, which I'm not necessarily looking for a super volumizing mascara every day if I'm just doing like minimal makeup. Okay, and then we're just gonna finish it off with the gloss. So again, this is the Makeup Forever Super Boost in the shade Wherever Walnut. Every person that I've seen put this on their lips, I've been so enamored by their lips. I'm like, that looks so juicy and so beautiful, and I love a juicy glossy lip. So here we go. Okay, that feels, first of all, the applicator is so interesting. It reminds me of like in The Wizard of Oz when you see like the Wicked Witch of the West shoes underneath like the house, like when Toto's running around, right? When you see her shoes, it reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West shoes, like the shape of her witchy shoes. Feels so smooth. Does feel like a little bit, felt like, I don't want to say thick, almost felt like a little thick going on, but then like smoothed out over the lips. Oh my gosh, it feels like a plushy dream to like that, like feels good to like rub onto the lips. Wow. Okay, that feels so nice. They definitely feel very glossy. It almost feels like nourishing. Like it feels like a nourishing lip product. And yes, they are very, very glossy. I feel like I probably over applied, but that's okay. That is okay. Wow, that feels really nice on the lips. But it's not like a distracting, it's not in a distracting way. Wow, look at the way that shine hits the light. I really like that. I'm very curious. Now I kind of want to go swatch more shades. My daughter and I are doing a girls' day, but it's like a no spend girls' day. I do kind of want to go swatch more shades in the store just to see if I possibly need another shade before the sale ends. Anyway, you guys, this is the final look. Okay, I don't know. Something about the eyes is like feeling a little off to me. I wonder if it's because the eyes are more warm toned and the rest of the face is not. We definitely went way too heavy-handed with the Laura Mercier bronzer. This is way more pigmented than I had anticipated, but let me just run through every product with you really quick. Okay, first we had the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. I'm gonna have to keep trying this. My one complaint right off of first impressions was it seemed like some spots were like glowier than others. So if you weren't going with foundation over top, if you were going with something really light over top and you had these like spots that like had glow, like gold glow, where others didn't, I feel like that'd be kind of weird. Maybe that was user error. Maybe that's because it was like my first couple of pumps. I don't know. We're gonna keep trying all of these products and I'll come back to share with you. Then we had the Milk Hydro Grip Gel Tint Foundation. Like I said, I've been testing this. This is my third or fourth time using this. I've been really impressed with this. All the reviews I've seen on this, it seems like, you know, dry skin, oily skin, a lot of people, no matter your skin type, have been really liking this. I do feel like the wear time is really good in my opinion for a like lighter coverage foundation or tinted whatever product, whatever we're calling it. And I feel like it wears off in a very flattering way. So I've really enjoyed this so far. I am going to keep testing this. This is something I feel like I will get quite a bit of use out of in the spring, summertime. I like how light it is on the skin and I do feel like it does blur my skin. Really excited about my Bobbi Brown color corrector. I like the shade a lot, and I will keep playing around with this to see, you know, the best ways for me to use this to cover up some of my insecurities. But I'm really happy with the shade for me personally. And again, I got the shade Light Medium Bisque. Okay, then we had the Ilia Sunshift Cream Bronzer. I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I feel like this is gonna be my cream era. Wow, that sounds highly inappropriate. That sounds extremely inappropriate. Although I would be okay with it being my cream era in more ways than one. Okay, that one might have been taking it a little too far. I'm really excited about this. First of all, I thought that this was gonna be lighter than it was. I'm really excited about the tone of this shade specifically. Again, I have Eclipse, which is the lightest. There are only 4 shades. This one seems more neutral than some of the other ones I swatched in store. However, if I continue to like this, potentially I would get the next shade or even the shade after that up, because I do kind of want to do that Bronzed Goddess thing where I like do it on my chest and neck as like body makeup. Off of first impressions though, I'm very excited about this product. This is not something I thought I would be excited about, but like I said, I walked by an Ilia display at an Ulta and I swatched and was just, I've been excited about this product ever since. I've been in multiple stores then since to swatch this, and this one might be the thing that I'm like possibly the most excited about, possibly. Then we have the Laura Mercier bronzer, which is going to take a little bit more practice, possibly. We went a little bit overboard with this one. I again thought that perhaps this would be a little bit too light for me, but it doesn't appear to be that way, at least so far. I personally like a glowier face from my bronzer to my blush to my highlight, not like out of control, but I prefer something slightly glowy to something that is matte, because I already have such dry skin and I just feel like a glow on my skin just looks a little bit healthier. So I'm still excited about this product. I just feel like I need to figure out how to best use this to be flattering on my skin. The YSL blush I'm really excited about. First of all, this just feels like a little treasure to have. It feels very luxe. It looks so beautiful, but I feel like this shade is like unique to my collection. I feel like my closest would be the Very Valentino, which if you did not see my haul, I can swatch these two next to each other just so you guys can kind of see a comparison. This one on top is the Very Valentino, whereas this one on the bottom is the YSL. As you can see, the Very Valentino is definitely more cool toned and kind of like a true lavender, whereas the YSL one is a little bit more pink toned. I would be curious, this one is not, okay, I want to know if I have Orgasm from NARS. I want to swatch those two next to one another. I have to have Orgasm in one of these, oh, yep, okay, on Orgasm on the Beach, I have the shade Orgasm. So let me swatch NARS Orgasm. And I was like, I feel like I did this no, I didn't do this in store. Okay, there's NARS Orgasm on the bottom. So you can tell there's like a gradient. The YSL is obviously in the middle of these two. I feel like the YSL leans like truly like a neutral pink. Like it's not really too cool toned, it's not too warm, and it has a beautiful sheen to the cheeks. I think with the bronzer situation happening, maybe it doesn't look the most flattering, although I do kind of like that with the bronzer situation. I am excited to keep trying this. I think this is a beautiful shade. I think it's pretty unique to my collection, to be honest. Maybe I'm wrong. I do plan to do like a full blush, swatching my entire blush collection and declutter in the next couple of months. So I'll be curious to see how it swatches next to everything else, but I'm excited about that one. I feel like it looks pretty on the cheeks and I'm happy with it. Okay, the Dior highlight. For some reason, I thought this was gonna be a little bit more intense. I'm not saying that I'm mad, it's not though. I love a pink highlight. I'm excited to keep trying this. I could see this becoming a true favorite just because I'm thinking of my other two more subtle highlights, which would be the Give Beauty highlight as well as the Laura Mercier Rose Gold one. And I feel like this one is more of like a true pink, almost with like a hint of like a lavender in it, which a lavender can be quite brightening. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited actually that it is a little bit more subtle, than the Pink Glow, because if I want something more intense, I can just go with Bobbi Brown Pink Glow, but if I'm wanting something more subtle for day to day, I can reach for this. It's beautiful. The embossing on it is absolutely stunning. Again, this kind of feels like a little luxury treasure to have in the collection. I like the quilted packaging. I don't know, there's something about quilted packaging that I personally really like. I could see why people wouldn't, but I like it. And then, is that it? Is that really it? Oh, and then the lip product. Okay, it's so comfortable on the lips, you guys. It's not one of those products where I feel like I constantly have to be like, And I just feel like the shine that it gives, the way that the light reflects off is just so pretty. It does have a bit of a mintiness to it, but not like a mint. It's not making my lips really tingle. I feel like I can just almost like taste it in my mouth. It's not like the buxom minty tingling sensation. By any means. I feel like this could become a true new favorite for a glossy, juicy lip. Like, I feel like this could become something that ranks up there with Lawless, Forget the Filler, and my buxom. I'm really excited about it, but you guys will have to let me know. Let me know if you picked up anything during the sale, if you tried it yet, what your thoughts are. Let a girl know in the comments below. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.